I'm Lily. Today I'm going to read the story Tori's Special Journey. Reading it level 3A, Tori's Special Journey. Okay, let's read it. Tori's Special Journey. A ray of sunlight beamed through the branches of the trees, landing gently on a leaf of a black oak tree. Quite shocked, Tori looked all around her. What's going on here? Many of the other acorns, which were tightly hanging onto the tree just yesterday, had disappeared. I can't believe they've already gone. Tori was sad that her friends had left without saying goodbye. Suddenly, a gust of wind shook the branches. She held onto the branch for dear life, trying hard not to fall off. Tori's mother, the black oak tree, had woken up and said, "Tori, don't be afraid. There comes a time when all acorns must fall to the ground." Tori grew pale with fear. Nothing her mother said could change how she felt. "But I'm so afraid. I'm going to stay on my branch forever." It feels scary at first, but after some time you'll be fine. Look at me, my child. I'm a big tree now. You see, this year I produced more acorns than ever forever. What's so special about this year? Tori asked. She had always wondered how her mother was able to stay all right with all the acorns she had. Instead of answering her, the black oak pointed to the farm below. Take a look at the farm field below. The field of golden grains looked like waves in the sunlight. Because of this year's drought, the grains haven't ripened yet. So it is my job to help the grains, she said. Tori didn't understand. During the years of a bad harvest, trees always yield more fruit, her mother explained. That is one of the laws of nature. When you grow up, you too will become a black oak tree like me. This is your destiny in life. Tori listened to her mother, trying to picture her future. Future. When afternoon came, the sunlight crept deeper between the tree branches. Tori examined herself carefully. Her stem was still secured firmly onto the branch. Thanks to the sunlight, she was plump too. She began to think, I faced many tough days this year. I remember when I couldn't even get a drop of water to drink because of the drought. And after that, there was the typhoon. I can't believe I was able to hold on during that storm. If I had fallen then, the ants would have definitely eaten me because my shell wasn't as hard as it is now. Even after that, Mom still wants me to fall. That really hurts my feelings. Trying to think of something else, Tori turned her focus to the stream next to her mother, but what she saw didn't calm her. It made her even more nervous. On one of the borders in the stream was an acorn, just barely hanging out. The tiniest gust of wind could send the acorn into the stream and gone forever. Tori felt scared. I wish I had deep roots like my mother. So I could always feel safe. Suddenly the wind blew and more acorns began to fall to the ground. Tori then said a short prayer. Please don't let anyone get hurt and let them fall into safety. Goodbye and take care. A few days later, out of nowhere, the leaves began to tremble. When heavy drops of rain started to fall, plop, the acorn right beside Tori fell into the ground, and as she fell, she said goodbye. Okay. Bye. I hope the leaves keep you warm during the winter. The autumn days came and went, and Tori said more goodbyes than she could count. One day she saw an acorn quickly hide herself between the wet sheets of leaves. Seeing this, Tori thought, falling to the ground is meaningful, Dad. I'm sure it's not as scary as I think it is. Oh, and so Tori looked at the mountains and saw that the fog had wrapped itself. Tori looked at the mountains and saw that the fog had wrapped itself around it. The foliage along the ridges had begun to change colors. A bird had been resting in the tree jumped off the branch and caused a few more acorns to fall. She watched them until they were out of sight. I wonder where they are headed, she said to herself. The wind began to pick up once more. The tree branches shook hard. A dragonfly that had been flying down by the stream quickly took cover. Just then, a leaf that had been protecting Tori took from the rain hit her, and she couldn't hold onto the branch any longer. It was now Tori's turn. Oh, I'm flying! Tori tumbled through the sky, her body spinning uncontrollably in the wind. Oh, I'm so dizzy! Below her was a stream flowing quickly and violently between two massive boulders. Plop! Tori had plunged so deep into the water that she could no longer see the cloudy sky above her. Luckily, her shell was hard now, so bumping into the rocks had no ill effect on her. Finally, the flow of the stream had calmed, and Tori began to look around. Suddenly, she bumped into a pine tree. Oh, sorry, she said quietly. Isn't this scary? Not at all. This is so much fun. This stream is taking me on a tour of the world, the pine cone said excitedly. You want a tour of the world? Tori asked, her voice filled with fear. Well, I was perfectly happy hanging on my tree, but now that I'm down here, there's so many wonderful things to see. It's so fascinating. It's also fascinating. Fascinating? The pine cone rolled itself up to a boulder for a moment. Yeah, don't be afraid. Let the water carry you and experience the world. Said the brave pine cone. After telling Tori this, he took the water again and let the water current sweep him away. Tori had made up her mind. As she tried to make her way out of the water, a school of minnows came to her. They began pushing her aside with their potty mouth. The minnows' eyes were round and full of curious wonder. As they kept playing with Tori, moving her this way and that, Tori thought, who knows where I will end up at this rate? So she made her escape and floated over to the river bank and rolled onto the ground. Ah, this is much better. Tori looked around. Her whole body was trembling from the cold. The wet soil was cold but soft. She lay there resting. The soil's earthy scent filled the air briefly, making her forget everything that had just happened. Tori then saw a line of ants carrying a caterpillar cocoon. They must be going home, she said. I wish I had a home to go to. Above her, she spotted a spider busily spinning a silky web between some tree branches. Spiders really are master home builders, she said, looking at the beautiful and intricate design of the web. Tori started feeling impatient. Just like the ants and the spider, she wanted a home of her own. She also realized the importance of keeping her own body free from harm. Just then she heard crunching sounds. A large field mouse flushed his teeth as he munched on the fruits that had fallen to the ground. Oh no, where did it come from? The sound of shells breaking sent chills to her core. The mouse was so furry and big, and she knew he could attack her at any moment. I doomed. I'm doomed if he catches a glimpse of me, she thought. Tori's face grew pale as she was frozen with fear. Fallen berries from the nearby greenberry tree clung to her. She tried to shake them off, but that only caused them to stick to her more. Soon enough, Tori was stuck in the branch. As Tori as Tori scanned the ground looking for a way to escape, she and the mouse made eye contact. She quietly closed her eyes, but it was too late. The mouse was already making its way toward her. Well, what we have here? What have we here? He said, tapping Tori's shell, perfectly ripe and ready to be eaten. Tori got chills all over. My life has finished before it began, she thought. She closed her eyes and braced herself, expecting the field mouse's razor-sharp teeth to cut through her shell. She wished she was back home, hanging from her branch and chatting with her friends. A rustle broke Tori back to reality. She slowly opened her eyes, scared to see what was happening. She was flying. When she looked up, she saw the beak of a brown bird. The bird was carrying a branch, the branch with the red berries that she was lucky enough to be stuck onto. The bird must have been searching for food and picked up this branch for berries. 1 minute. I thought I was going to be mouse food, and then next, I'm flying through the air with a bird. What a relief! The bird flew high up into the sky, way higher than the branch that Tori once lived on. But as the bird soared through the sky, flapping its wings, Tori's grip on the branches came loose, and she fell. She closed her eyes. Please, please, she thought to herself. The floor felt endless thud. When Tori finally opened her eyes again, she wasn't sure what had happened. The last thing she remembered was being in a free fall, and now she was lying on a large grass field. She checked her body for wounds. She had a couple of scratches, but her hard shell had protected her well. What a day, she thought to herself. Just thinking about the events that had happened to her had her heart racing, and she found herself out of breath. Just then, Tori heard loud voices in the distance. A child had run over to her. An acorn coal, said the boy, picking up Tori. I found a big leaf, said a girl, walking up to the boy. Let's go find our teacher now. The children were on a field trip. Their teacher had a smile as bright as the sun, and Tori listened as she talked to her students. Okay, let's see what we have, she said. All sorts of the things were placed on the teacher's bed and the blue mat. Tori looked beside her and saw the pine cone and the red berries from the greenberry tree. Did everyone enjoy the treasure hunt? The teacher asked. Yes, the teacher. Yes, the children chimed all at once. Their vibrant voices rang through the forest. Did anyone find anything that would make a good gift? A girl with a yellow shirt raised her hand. I want to give this white pepper to my mom. The smooth pepper shined in her palm. That is a beautiful stone. I bet your mom would be happy to receive a gift like that. Another girl hopped out of a pine cone and said, I'm going to give this pine to my dad. Wow, what a beautiful pine cone. It looks like just like your hairpin, said the teacher. Then a boy raised his hand and said, I want to give this acorn to my grandma. Oh, I see. Does your grandma like acorns? The teacher asked as she drew near. Actually, my grandma's very ill right now. When I was younger, she used to make acorn jelly with them, but it's not good to gather acorns. We have to leave them for the squirrels to eat, she said very seriously. The teacher nodded. That's right, the forest belongs to all of us, and we must protect nature. This acorn is a seed that will bring new life into the forest. It is filled with dreams and possibilities just like all of you. Now let's turn everything back to where we found them. Okay, shouted the children. The field trip had come to an end, and the children put the pine cone and the red green berries back to where they had found them. Tori watched in awe. The boy with a hand shovel cocked his head and asked, "Can this acorn really grow in the tree?" The teacher smiled gently and said, "We'll have to wait and see. But I can tell you one thing. The next time we'll see the acorn, it won't look the same." The teacher's voice, once loud and clear, became soft and muffled. The babbling of the children continued faintly in the background. Tori felt the cool soil cover her entire body. She took a deep breath. The intoxicating scent of the earth had fragrant flowers around her were new, yet familiar. She closed her eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Bye!